Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So, I just made a video in regards to the Knicks, and I listened back to it, and I felt that there was so much more to say. First of all, when you sign a bunch of players that all play the same position, and then you don't accompany that team with point guards that can actually run the floor and run your offense, you're not going to have a whole lot happen for you in a positive way, okay? I'm going to start the video off by saying that the Knicks signed about 4 or 5 power forwards and really have point guards that don't necessarily excel in setting up offenses or running plays or doing any of those things, keeping pace or none of that. Frank Ntilikina more or less is a defensive player who's still learning the point guard position, but he's more so a guy that locks people down. Okay, that's his thing. He's gonna get steals. He's gonna, rebound the ball, do things like that. Dennis Smith Jr. is a player who had a whole lot of hops, a whole lot of upside in terms of his ability to rebound the ball, score, but really his claim to fame is his hops, his ability to jump completely out of the gym. I don't know where he is with his conditioning, but being on the Knicks has not been a positive thing for that dude, to say the least. R.J. Barrett, stud of a rookie, but they're playing him too much too soon. He's going to hit a rookie wall. His body's not ready for 82 games plus playoffs at 40 minutes a game. Okay, I don't care how great a rookie is. He's not ready for that. He's never been through an NBA season. He's not ready for that. Robinson, a developing shot blocker, not really an offensive presence yet. It's going to take some years for him to get to be a type of player that you want him to be, and really his upside is up in the air at this point. Okay, we've just named off all the players that aren't playing power forward for this team, basically. You know, they also, they have another player that's like a guy like Alonzo Trier, who doesn't have a jump shot at this point. Plays a lot of slash basketball. Defensive guy, too, from what I understand. Can slash to the rim, get to the lane, all that stuff, but he can't shoot. Okay, so now let's look at what else they have. Bobby Portis, power forward, scorer, not much of a defensive guy. Can rebound a little bit, but you're looking at him to get you 25, 30 points on a good night. Julius Randle, not much of a defender, fantastic passer from the power forward position, super strong, one of the strongest players in all the league, but he has very small arms, and so he's not going to be looked upon as someone who's going to be able to protect your rim as much, although he can block a shot here and there. That's not his game. He could definitely slash. He could jump some. He could do a lot of the good things, rebound very well. He's a power guy, power forward in every sense of the word, with the ability to pass the ball. Doesn't defend, though. That's not his strength. Taj Gibson. We know who Taj Gibson is. He's been in the league for almost, 11 years, something like that? A little long in the tooth. Probably shouldn't even be on this roster. Marcus Morris. Knockdown shooter. 3-point threat. Somebody who's going to hit a big shot in a big game. Complimentary guy. Role player with high scoring ability. And he's gonna score a lot. R.J. Barrett. Supreme scoring young kid. He's going to be a star in this league at the scoring the basketball. There's not too many places on the floor that he can't score from. He's very, very comfortable shooting the ball, very, very comfortable slashing, very comfortable at the line. He's an offensive player. Defensively, I'm not really certain what he can do, but he definitely shouldn't be playing 40 minutes a game. So what we're talking about is a bunch of guys that all play forward positions, possibly all playing power forward positions if you want to take away R.J. Barrett from the power forward position, although I think he could play it very comfortably if he's forced to. There's no point guard there. There's nobody who's going to set up your offense. There's no center who's going to give you a complementary offensive way to kind of accentuate what those other guys do. No stretch five, nothing like that. All the fours on this floor are offensive players. None of them are defensive players. All their point guards are defensive players. None of them are set up offense type point guards. I mean, where's the balance on this roster? And you paid these guys all this year, basically every last one of these people were more or less got their contracts this year to give them the cap space, situation that they have. They started this offseason with as much cap space as the Lakers, as the Nets, as Chicago, as all these teams who had cap space. And this is what they chose to do with it. Last night they got blown out by the Cavs. They got on television with a press conference just basically saying that they didn't see the effort out of this team and they thought this roster would be better. And that basically they want to blame, more or less, without saying it outright, they're blaming the coach for not getting more effort out of the players. Because that through 10 games, they're not happy with a 2-8 record. And obviously, from what I just told you, there was no expectations that this team would do well. No expectations whatsoever. You don't think that this is going to be a good team based on everything I just told you. So, to me, Steve Mills and the other guy, I don't know who he is, honestly, don't know his name, got on television to save his own job, to make it, to basically lie to the rest of the American public, and or what scares me, tell their truth to the American public, basically stating that they felt like they did a good job putting this roster together. They felt like they should be, given more effort from this imbalanced roster that really isn't going to be able to run any competent basketball out there unless players get better really, really fast, or unless guys do something that they're not, prone to do, step outside of themselves to make things happen on a professional basketball floor where other teams don't have those issues. How is any of this David Fizdale's fault? That's what I have to ask. How is any of this Fizz's fault? And when you give him nothing to work with, nothing at all. I'm not saying that the players that they have aren't anything at all. You could take each and every one of those players, put them in the right situation, and they'll be a part of a good team. All those guys, every name on this roster can do something somewhere else. Well, it's not about that. It's about what you put together as a conglomerate, as a collective, and then seeing to it that they can actually get the most out of themselves and get the most out of their team. How in the world are they supposed to get the most out of their team when nothing on this roster is balanced at all? Marcus Morris is your leading scorer. I've said this once and I'll say it again. The league needs to set a league-wide standard for how front offices are run based on cap space balance, front office behavior, and decision-making as a whole. I mean, there needs to be a standard. And if that standard isn't met, guys need to be removed from their positions. It's that simple. If every team was run like the Knicks, the NBA would be in the worst position of any league in the world. That's the reality of it. If every team was run like the Knicks, this would be the worst league in the world. So what I say is the NBA needs to step up. Instead of focusing on the wrong things like who's deciding to preserve their body through load management and how we could take money away from them for not playing games that'll probably end up getting them hurt and not having them available for playoffs, playing God with people's careers. How about you focus on the incompetence of these front offices that behave such as the way the Knicks have, Dolan and Mills, putting together imbalanced rosters after imbalanced rosters, tanking year after year without actually drafting properly. Like, this is just having cap space galore and spending it all on the same position over and over and over and over again. Do something about that. Because to me, it seems like the Knicks, though they have one of the best markets in all of the land, clearly New York is one of the top markets in the world. One of the more appreciated brands in all of sports, because people love the Knicks for some reason. That purple and that blue and orange is something that people really, really appreciate, including myself. I grew up liking the Knicks to a degree. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. Everybody loves the mecca. Spike Lee. It is what it is. And it ain't what it isn't, which is a good run, properly run franchise. I've said Dolan needs to sell the team. I've also got on here and said I thought this team had an opportunity to make the playoffs. And while I have no reason to believe this team can actually make the playoffs, what I was banking on was the fact that they do have good players. Bobby Portis can score. Marcus Morris can score. Nikina can defend. RJ can score. Like, they do have players that can do good things if you get them out of there. But together, no, it looks bad. It looks worse than bad. It's horrible. And then you think about Kristaps Porzingis. Somebody they traded. Now, albeit, I'm sure he was happy to be gone. I know he's happy to be gone. He couldn't wait to get out of there, and he told him he was leaving. But the reality was he was under contract. You could have ready for the right deal. Maybe kept him on the roster so that you could see what would happen this free agency period. Maybe you get a chance to pair him with somebody who otherwise wouldn't have come or didn't come because he wasn't there. You never know. If Porzingis is on this roster, maybe the Nets don't get KD and Kyrie Irving. Maybe they get him, those two, or at least one of them. Who knows? Maybe you get an opportunity to get somebody who re-signed with the other team. I don't know. Maybe nothing happens at all, but at least you have Kristaps Porzingis on your roster. They traded him for nothing. For nothing. For Dennis Smith Jr., who just flat out isn't developing fast at all. I'm not saying that he's a bust, but it ain't looking good. Let's just be honest. It ain't looking good at all. What else did they get in that trade? Not only did they get Dennis Smith in that trade, but they gave away one of their better shooters, one of their better scorers, somebody they paid twice, not once, twice, and Tim Hardaway Jr. They paid him twice. Traded him, brought him back, paid him, traded him. The incompetence of Steve Mills is overwhelming. And it all falls back on Dolan. It will always fall back on Dolan. And it's time for Dolan to look in the mirror and say, it's time to sell the team. It's time to turn this thing over for the sake of just the brand, for the sake of your own name. Do something good with this roster. Give it to somebody like Ballmer, someone of that ilk who will take this team, pour tons of cash into the upkeep of the roster, into the front office, properly fire those who shouldn't be there, and just get a balanced roster. Get yourself a point guard, get yourself a shooting guard, keep your small forward. Do something with your power forward position. Keep one or two of those guys and trade the rest of them. And just hold on to Robinson for a little while. That would be my suggestion. Build your bench from the back end up. I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. Putting a basketball team together is not that hard, dude. It's not like a football team where you're putting together 50 people. It's only 15 to 16 guys, and you have a farm system. Guys are coming out of the G League every day, flying into the league, getting better every year. The NBA is a league full of players that should be able to compete at the level that they're at. But if you put the wrong combination of players together, I don't give a damn how talented those players are. You're not getting a whole lot out of them. The front office must help, because at the end of the day, these guys' careers are temporary, as I've said in other videos. You are messing with people's careers when you put them in bad situations like this. When you put them under the tutelage and under the hands of bad front offices. Their careers are on the line. Sometimes guys don't develop properly. Sometimes they fall apart. Sometimes they fall into injury issues trying to do too much. Sometimes they just lose confidence. It isn't the player's fault. You put a player in a good situation, he's going to flourish. And not enough energy is placed upon these front offices to hold the responsibility that they have true. And these cap space situations, half the time I look at these teams and they don't even know how to use their cap space. It seems to me that they're just ignorant as to how to use it, how to properly put together their roster based on the caps. That's unacceptable, NBA. Absolutely and utterly unacceptable. You must do something about this, and you must do it now. Or else, you're going to continue to have products on the floor, such as the New York Knicks. That's all I got to say, man. Dolan needs to sell the team, but even more so, the NBA needs to force front offices to hold themselves to a certain standard, to perform under a certain standard, or be ousted by the league itself. Give it some thought, people. BDF.